God gave you a butt. What are you going to do with it?
Sit.
You're going to sit on it. And we've got some fantasy sits for you for this weekend. Producer, hit the Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. I am bigz. He is Grindberg. With us, as always, is Schultze on most of the time. He's with us most of the time. It's week one. We did our starts show. Now we're going to tell you who to sit. Once again, let me remind you, don't overthink things. You drafted guys for a reason, so your higher round draft picks, go ahead and leave them in there. But we're going to give you some things to think about in case you're on the edge. If you're teetering on, do I do this? Do I do that? We also got some interesting news that Christian McCaffrey is his McCaff is hurting, and so you might want to go with Brian Robinson as an alternative. Whatever. I'm not going to say to sit Christian McCaffrey. I might on Breakfast with bigz if we have more information. That's coming up 8:30 a.m. Best Coast time on Sunday morning, 11:30 Pacific. And I do want to shout out, this show is brought to you, you didn't know this, it's brought to you by Chris's Smoked Pickles. Chris is doing big things in Big Lake, Alaska. He's smoking pickles, assorted meats and cheeses. Go to Facebook, type in Chris's Smoked Pickles, and send him a message on Messenger, and order some good stuff. He just sent me a big care package this morning. I got a ton of relish and pickles and meats and cheeses and trail mix, and I'm excited.
Are the pickles big?
They're not that big.
Okay.
They're not that big. Oh, and he sent me a ton of pickle slut stickers, like my hat, but stickers.
Nice.
Let's get into the show, you guys. Who are we putting on the bench in fantasy this week?
Well, why don't you start us off, bud?
Okay, Travis Hunter. So this game is going to be well in the hands of Jacksonville. Jacksonville's running backs are going to run all over Carolina, and Carolina has a pretty underrated pass defense. Travis Hunter is a rookie wide receiver. I know that they're going to want to get him involved. I know that they're going to, want to get the ball in his hands a few times. He might score a touchdown, but I don't see this as a high volume game for Travis Hunter. So if you do have a situation where you're looking at some of the Carolina Panthers receivers, or some of the Arizona Cardinals receivers, the Buffalo Bills' receivers, go ahead, Atlanta Falcons receivers, go ahead and play those guys. Brian Thomas Jr., until further notice, is the wide receiver one in Jacksonville. Travis Hunter is a rookie. He's going to be getting some time on defense. We don't know what his snap count is going to be. So don't rely on him in a wide receiver one or wide receiver two role, which is likely where you had to draft him. Try and go with an alternative. And if I'm wrong, sorry about it, but there's not really a whole lot of information to go on with Travis Hunter at this point. So I'm keeping him on the bench, at least in this game, because Jacksonville's not going to have a whole lot of use for him this week.
There you have it. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, bigz. And I'm going to talk about a guy that is in a similar situation, I think, at this point, and that's DK Metcalf. Although he enters the season as, Pittsburgh's clear-cut number one wide receiver, he's now catching passes from Aaron Rodgers in an Arthur Smith-led offense. The talent, though, is undeniable. The contract extension, it was massive, but the opportunity and volume has never been greater. But in week one, they faced the New York Jets, and it's about as tough as it gets as far as pass defense. Metcalf has faced the Jets twice in his career, and Sauce Gardner has largely gotten the better half of him. In the first meeting, Metcalf was held to just 3 yards on 5 targets, and while he fared better in 2024, 4 catches on 66, the matchup remains one of the toughest outside receivers, and Gardner's strength and physicality match Metcalf's skill set in ways few can. So I'm looking for this to be a tough battle in a very low-scoring game where I think both teams are going to want to manage the clock with their defense and run game. And I just would prioritize a lot of other guys ahead of Metcalf this week, even though, he's got that wide receiver one upside, but not this week, in my opinion. I'm just going to fade him. We're looking at a quarterback that's in a new system. Obviously, he's got that experience, but there's a lot of variables here that, got some red flags for me to start him right out of the gate. He still profiles as a wide receiver too, but you're probably starting him in most leagues. But this isn't the week to expect a whole lot of fireworks, in my opinion. So I'm going to get DK Metcalf on the bench here.
Can't argue with that.
All right, Schulte, who do you got as your number one or one of your sits anyhow?
It's going to be Omarion Hampton. We've got a lot of hype coming in for the rookie. Everybody loves this guy. Everybody loved the landing spot. Everybody loved the draft capital. Everybody who loved him loved that Najee Harris had a firework accident, because the path was cleared for Omarion Hampton to steal the show before the show started. And I guess, unfortunately for Omarion, Najee healed up real quick here, and he's somehow going to get the start. And that's pretty crazy to me. But beyond that, they are playing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were the number one team against running backs in fantasy last year. Don't really see much reason for that to change. I think we're still going to have a stingy run defense here for the Chiefs, and I think they're going to go out and score points on the Chargers defense without too much concern here, causing the Chargers on the flip side to have to throw the ball to catch up. I just don't see a scenario where, I think with both of these running backs here for the Chargers, for both of them to be impactful on a week-to-week basis, the Chargers need to be winning. They need to be controlling games. They need to be pounding out clock. I just don't think that's going to be the case against the Chiefs here in week one. So I'm steering clear of Omarion Hampton. I just don't. I think, we talked about it in the start show with Scatabo, the usage with the rookie, maybe not quite right away. And I know first round rookie, it's going to be a little different. However, I'm still steering clear week one.
I was of the mindset that Najee Harris, from the get-go, since April when the draft happened, that Najee Harris was going to, be the lead ball carrier in the Chargers offense. We saw what Greg Roman did with Keaton Mitchell when Keaton Mitchell first came into the Baltimore Ravens backfield. He was a rookie and he wasn't getting a whole lot of carries. When he did, he flashed. He was very efficient, and he was also hurt a lot. But I've always been looking at Najee Harris as the lead guy in this backfield. The point about the Chiefs being a very stingy run defense is well taken. Game script doesn't call for it. It's a lot of these guys. We just, like I said with Travis Hunter, we have to wait and see. There's a lot of preseason hype, a lot of rookie optimism, but we need to see how it plays out a little bit first before we make some big decisions, like starting Omarion Hampton over Najee Harris.
You have it. All right, let's get into our big time sits, our spotlights, and we'll start with bigz.
So in our last episode, Wilson made a really good point about Tony Pollard in that he is the only one in the Tennessee backfield. Khalil Mullings is there. Julius Chestnut is there. They're not really going to be taking carries away from Tony Pollard. The problem is that the Tennessee Titans are going to be playing against Denver, and Denver has a very, very good run defense. The implied point total from Vegas for the Titans is 17.5 points. That doesn't give Tony Pollard a whole lot of opportunity to get into the end zone. He's also probably not going to be very efficient against this defense. So even if he does get 15 to 20, 25 carries, he's probably not going to do a whole lot with it. And the Tennessee Titans likely aren't going to be scoring a lot. There aren't going to be a lot of red zone opportunities for Pollard. So in a lot of situations, I have Tony Pollard as one of my RB1 or RB2s. But in the situations where I don't have to start him and I can go with an alternative, I'm absolutely sitting Tony Pollard.
All right, Schultze, anything to say to that? I mean, you had him as a start. I mean, maybe you guys are bridging the gap here a bit. Maybe you could maybe start him with caution potentially.
It's like it's a scenario where we're on the opposite sides here, right? But like both of us completely see the other person's point of view.
Yes.
I totally see. I see bigz' scenario happening. Like I do really think that's a possibility here. I just think the fact that there's literally nobody else here is going to outweigh everything else combined with garbage time and stuff that like he's going to end up being fine.
Fair enough. All right, let's get into my spotlight here. Another running back, Schultze. So James Cook was one of the brightest surprises of 2024, but he tied the league lead in rushing touchdowns, finishing among the top backs and in points per carry. And he heads into 2025 with a new contract, a breath of fresh air. The production, it was electric, but also efficiently driven by touchdown upside outside the 10-yard line. But this week, he faces one of the toughest matchups he's going to have all year. He faces the Ravens defense that finished, red hot against the run, holding opponents to under 60 yards in their last 4 out of 5 games last year. And Baltimore got some upgrades on defense. And in his last 2 career games against Baltimore, he finished with just 39 rushing yards on 9 carries, including a game in 2024 where he recorded 0 rushing yards altogether. Buffalo's offense is still dynamic, and Cook's receiving ability should keep him involved, but the team continues to use, somewhat of a committee approach, and I'm expecting Ray Davis to earn his touches this game in a very close matchup, and I'm not benching James Cook, but I'm going to be very much reluctant to get him in there. I don't think he's going to be a high upside RB2. He's going to be on the outer edges of that. I think he's got bust potential this week if the game script doesn't tilt in his favor, which it could. So this is a very much proceed with caution situation for James Cook. He's got that high upside player, but week 1 is full of red flags, a tough matchup, committee usage, and touchdown regression. You probably still have to start him, but don't be shocked if he underwhelms out of the gate. Start him if you must, but lower the bar. The floor might be closer than everybody thinks here on James Cook.
I agree with that. Baltimore's run defense is super stingy. I want to say that Schultze brought up KC being pretty good, but when you go ahead and dig deep, look at the Baltimore Ravens run defense, they gave up 36 yards fewer per game than the average, and opponents only run 33% of the time on them. Last year against Baltimore, Cook had nine rushing attempts, 5.8 total points. It's not a good matchup for Cook, and he's not going to start your fantasy season off right.
There you have it. All right, Chelsea, get into your spotlight. Sit.
All right, so this is going to be like in very similar vein to how you talked about James Cook, where it's like, you probably still are realistically having to play this guy, but if there's another option, I'm definitely going to be intrigued, And it's Kyren Williams, and for a guy with the draft capital of this caliber, like we mentioned, you probably are playing him, but I have some real caution here, and if I've got a better option, I'm not going to be too hesitant to pull the trigger on that. And this really doesn't have anything to do with Kyren Williams himself. It's not you, it's me, I mean, the matchup's not great. First of all, the Texans are, this could be a top 5 defense in the league this year. The talent is stacked there on multiple levels. And this is just going to be a really good unit in general overall, right off the bat. Second, Matt Stafford back injury. Now, when I think of the back injury for Stafford, my first thought is, oh, they're going to try and protect him. And
You
they're
guys
gonna...
stop. The NFL season just started.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Resume. With this back injury for Stafford, my first thought was, they're going to want to load up Kyren Williams and take the load off Stafford, which is probably true. But if you go on the flip side, what's the game plan for the Texans, right? It's going to be, we're going to absolutely load up and stop Kyren Williams. We're going to make Stafford beat us because we don't know how his back is. They could be bluffing, like he could be struggling a lot more than they're letting on, and we're going to make him beat us. We're gonna load up. We're gonna stop Kyren Williams. We're gonna put him in 3rd and longs. We're gonna pin our ears back. We're getting after Stafford. Like, I think that's gonna be the game plan. Is, all right, if Stafford's fine, prove it. Like, we're not gonna, like, we're calling the bluff if it is one, and if it's not, good luck. So I think that's got to be the defensive game plan here. Take Kyren Williams out of the game and make Stafford beat you. And if he does, so be it. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I totally agree. If I'm Houston, my defense is absolutely going after loaded boxes, 8 men in the box at all times. We'll deal with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and their route runnings with our safeties, but we are absolutely stacking everything and just pinning our ears back and trying to hit Stafford. As soon as you knock Stafford out of the game, that's all she wrote. And if you're looking to do that, then Kyron's not going to have a whole lot of room to run. So I love that call.
All right. Well, that brings our Sits show to the end here, and we're primed up for Week 1 Sunday football. We're excited to have everybody there. Be sure to tune into Breakfast with Biggs and also Spilled Coffee on Sunday mornings for all your start and sit questions. Last minute, Biggs is going to be headlining that. What is it? 9:30?
8:30.
8:30
West Coast. 11:30 East Coast.
There it is. All right.
Breakfast with Biggs. Also, join us after Thursday night football games every week for Points After Thursday. We're running that back. That's officially last night, tonight, yesterday, today. Whenever. So you'll see this episode, but we're recording it right as the Thursday night football game started. So we are officially into the NFL season, and you're not going to see this as a call to action to join us tonight. Hopefully you will anyway, but join us next week after Thursday night football right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network. Go buy our merch, go to the website, do all the things, follow us on the Twitters and Blue Sky. Go to Facebook and go get yourself some Chris's smoked pickles because they're fantastic, and we hope you win.
Hope you win, folks.
I hope you win.
Peace.